My name is Vanessa Williams. I'm 39 years old. I never imagined I'd be the one lying on the classroom floor of Lincoln Elementary, bleeding out in the same school where I'd taught for over 8 years. I never imagined I'd die, but I did. I crossed over, and what I saw was something I never expected. I met Jesus, and he showed me something about Black women, about our strength, our struggles, and what's really happening behind the scenes. And it completely transformed me. It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't some peaceful vision. It was a revelation, raw and real. I'm still trying to understand it all, but one thing I know, it needs to be shared. On December 8th, I died at Lincoln Elementary School in Detroit. It was a Thursday afternoon, just after dismissal. Most of the kids had gone home, but I was staying late to grade papers and set up for the next day's science experiment. My third graders were learning about crystals, and I wanted everything to be perfect. I remember thinking about Zoe, my 12-year-old daughter, and how she'd probably be worried if I was late picking her up from her grandmother's house again. Zoe. She's everything to me. Smart, funny, with this wild imagination that reminds me of myself at her age. But lately, she's been asking harder questions. Mama, why do some people look at us different? Why did Daddy leave? Why do you cry sometimes when you think I'm not looking? I didn't always have good answers. I was trying to hold it all together. Single mom, full-time teacher, part-time student working on my master's degree. I told myself I was being strong, but really, I was drowning. I used to have faith. My grandmother, Nana Rose, raised me in the church. Every Sunday morning, she'd braid my hair tight, put me in my best dress, and we'd walk 3 blocks to Mount Olive Baptist. She taught me to pray, to sing hymns, to believe that God had a special plan for my life. Baby girl, she'd say, you got a light in you that the world needs to see. But somewhere along the way, that light got dim. First came the divorce. Marcus left when Zoe was 6, said he needed to find himself. Then came the struggles, working 2 jobs to make ends meet, watching other teachers with husbands and support systems while I juggled everything alone. I saw too many bright Black children lose hope, too many families broken by poverty and violence. I kept wondering, if God really loved us, why did everything have to be so hard? So I started protecting myself. I stopped praying except in emergencies. I stopped believing in fairy tales about divine intervention. I called faith a crutch for people who couldn't face reality. But the truth was, I was angry. Not just at God, but at myself. I was tired of feeling like I had to be superwoman, like I couldn't show weakness, couldn't ask for help, couldn't just be human. There was this one day that broke something in me. Jamal, one of my students, bright, sweet 8-year-old with the biggest smile, came to school with bruises on his arms. When I asked him about it, he just looked down and said, "Mama's boyfriend don't like noise." I reported it, followed protocol, but nothing happened. That night, I sat in my car in the school parking lot and cried until my chest ached. I felt powerless, helpless, like everything I did was just a drop in an ocean of pain. I stopped going to family reunions. I ignored my sister's calls asking how I was doing. I missed Zoe's school concert last month because I was grading papers. She performed a solo, "His Eye is on the Sparrow," and my mother recorded it. But I never called to tell Zoe how proud I was. What kind of mother does that? That Thursday afternoon when I died, I remember feeling especially empty. I was arranging materials for the crystal experiment when I heard shouting in the hallway. A man had come into the school, angry about something with his child's grades. Security was trying to calm him down, but he was getting more agitated, more threatening. I stepped out of my classroom to see if I could help. I saw Mrs. Patterson, our elderly secretary, frozen behind the front desk. Without thinking, I moved toward her, trying to position myself between her and the danger. That's when I saw the gun. The sound came before the pain, a sharp crack that echoed through the hallway. Then burning fire in my chest, another in my shoulder. I fell backward, my head hitting the tile floor. The world started spinning, colors bleeding together like watercolors in rain. I remember thinking about Zoe. How would she understand this? How would she grow up without me? I wanted to tell her I was sorry for all the times I was too tired to really listen, too stressed to really see her. I wanted to tell her she was the most beautiful thing in my life. The sounds around me grew distant, muffled, like I was underwater. Then silence. Not scary silence, but something deeper. Something that felt alive. And in that stillness, years of walls started crumbling. The strength I'd worn like armor, the independence I'd built to protect myself, the anger I'd used to keep pain at bay, it all began to dissolve. That's when it started. The light. It wasn't blinding or overwhelming. It was gentle, warm, like the feeling of being perfectly understood. And as my eyes closed for what I thought was the last time, I heard a voice. Not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakably real. "Come home, daughter." 2 words that felt like everything I'd been searching for my whole life. That was the moment I let go. Not just of life, but of everything I'd been carrying alone. And what came next changed everything I thought I knew about myself, about my purpose, about who Black women really are in God's eyes. The pain disappeared completely. Not gradually, but instantly, like someone had flipped a switch. I felt weightless, free, like I'd been carrying invisible chains my whole life and they'd finally fallen away. I found myself floating above the scene, looking down at my body lying on the school hallway floor. I could see Mrs. Patterson crying, teachers running, paramedics working over me. It should have been frightening, but instead I felt this overwhelming peace. I started rising, slowly at first, then faster. Detroit spread out below me. The neighborhoods I knew, the school where I'd poured my heart out for 8 years, the apartment where Zoe was probably waiting for me. As I moved higher, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Complete freedom from worry. The sky above me opened up into colors I'd never seen, shimmering like oil on water, but somehow alive. I was moving through what felt like pure love made visible. Then I saw him walking toward me through the golden light. Jesus. Not like the pictures on Sunday school walls. He was brown-skinned, with kind eyes that held depths of understanding I couldn't fathom. His presence was magnetic, not in a way that demanded attention, but in a way that made you feel completely safe, completely known. "Vanessa," he said, and his voice was like music and strength combined. "My beautiful daughter." I fell to my knees in that space between earth and heaven, sobbing. All the years of trying to be strong enough, good enough, perfect enough came pouring out. "Jesus, I'm sorry. I stopped believing. I stopped trusting you. I've been so angry." He knelt beside me and pulled me into his arms. The embrace was everything I'd been searching for. Unconditional acceptance, perfect love, complete safety. "You were never alone," he whispered. "Even when you couldn't feel me, I was there, carrying you when you couldn't carry yourself." "I messed up so much," I cried into his shoulder. "I wasn't the mother Zoe needed. I wasn't the woman you called me to be." He pulled back and looked into my eyes. "You were tired, beloved. You were carrying burdens you were never meant to bear alone. But I saw your heart. I saw how you loved those children in your classroom. I saw how you sacrificed for Zoe. I saw the light in you, even when it felt dim." His words broke something open in me. A lifetime of believing I wasn't enough, wasn't doing enough, wasn't strong enough. He saw it all and loved me anyway. "Come," he said, taking my hand. "There's something I need to show you." We walked together through that place of light and peace. With each step, I felt more whole, more myself than I'd ever been. We came to an overlook where I could see what looked like all of creation spread before us. "Look," he said. I saw faces. Thousands upon thousands of Black women throughout history. Some I recognized: Harriet Tubman, Maya Angelou, my own grandmother. Others were nameless but not forgotten. Teachers, mothers, nurses, activists, artists, everyday women who had changed the world in ways big and small. "What is this?" I asked. "This is the legacy you're part of," Jesus said. "The strength, the wisdom, the resilience that flows through you. It's not accident. It's by design." I watched as the scene shifted, showing me the spiritual battles that had raged for generations. I saw dark forces whispering lies. "You're not enough. You have to be perfect. You can't show weakness. You're alone." I saw how these lies had been passed down through generations of trauma, creating walls between women who should have been supporting each other. "The enemy has tried to isolate my daughters," Jesus explained, "to make them believe they must carry everything alone, to steal their joy, their peace, their sense of sisterhood." I saw myself in that vision, working tirelessly, smiling when I was breaking inside, afraid to ask for help because I thought it made me weak. I saw other Black women doing the same thing, all of us drowning while trying to look like we were swimming. "Lord, why do we do this to ourselves?" I asked. "Because you've been taught that your worth comes from your strength, not from my love for you," he said gently. "But I created you to be warriors and lovers, fierce and tender, strong and vulnerable. The world has tried to force you to choose, but in me, you can be whole." Then he showed me something that took my breath away. I saw Zoe, but older, maybe 25 or 30. She was standing in front of a group of young Black girls, teaching them about their worth, their beauty, their potential. She was radiant, confident, whole in a way I'd never been at her age. This is what's possible when the cycle breaks, Jesus said. When you stop believing the lies and start walking in your true identity. I watched as Zoe spoke to those girls about God's love for them, about their infinite value, about the power they carried not despite being Black women, but because of it. She was everything I dreamed she could be. Strong but not hardened, confident but not prideful, loving but not people-pleasing. She learned this from you, Jesus said. Not from your perfection, but from your healing. Tears streamed down my face. But I haven't healed. I'm still broken. That's why you have to go back, he said softly. Your work isn't finished. Zoe needs to see what healing looks like. Your students need to see what authentic strength looks like. And there are other women who need to hear this message. The thought of leaving this perfect peace, this place where I felt completely loved and understood, was agony. Jesus, I don't want to go back. It's so hard down there. So lonely. He cupped my face in his hands. You're never alone, and you're not going back the same. You're carrying this truth with you, that you are my beloved daughter, fearfully and wonderfully made, chosen and cherished. Let that truth reshape everything. I felt myself beginning to fade from that place. What should I tell them? Tell them they don't have to be perfect to be loved. Tell them their worth isn't in their accomplishments, but in my heart for them. Tell them to stop competing with each other and start supporting each other. Tell them I see their tears, their struggles, their silent sacrifices, and I'm proud of them. As the light dimmed and I felt myself being pulled back toward Earth, I heard his final words. Tell them their story isn't over. The best chapters are yet to be written. I woke up to beeping machines and fluorescent lights. Every breath was painful, every movement an effort. But something fundamental had changed. The fear was gone. The desperate need to prove myself was gone. In its place was a deep, unshakable peace. The doctors called it a miracle. I'd been clinically dead for 8 minutes, had lost massive amounts of blood, but somehow my brain showed no signs of damage. They couldn't explain it medically. Zoe was the first person I saw when I was fully conscious. She was curled up in the chair beside my bed, her hair messy, her eyes red from crying. When she saw me awake, she jumped up and carefully hugged me. Mama, I was so scared, she whispered. I know, baby, I said, stroking her hair. But I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. For the first time in years, I really looked at her. Not just checking to see if she was okay, but really seeing her. She was beautiful, growing up, becoming her own person. And in that moment, I felt such overwhelming gratitude. Not just that I was alive, but that I got to be her mother. Zoe, I said, I want you to know something. You are the most precious gift God ever gave me. And I'm sorry for all the times I was too busy or too worried to really show you that. She cried then, and so did I. But they were healing tears. Recovery was slow. I had to relearn how to do simple things, how to trust my body again. But more importantly, I had to learn how to live differently. I started by calling my sister and telling her everything. Not just the near-death experience, but the years of struggle I'd hidden from everyone. She cried with me over the phone. Vanessa, why didn't you tell me? I would have helped. We all would have helped. That was my first lesson in vulnerability. I'd been so afraid of appearing weak that I'd isolated myself from the very people who loved me. I joined a support group for single mothers at my church. At first, it felt strange to sit in a circle and admit I didn't have it all together. But as I listened to other women's stories, I realized I wasn't alone in my struggles. We all had the same fears, the same pressures, the same desire to give our children better than what we'd had. I started prayer meetings in my home on Saturday mornings. Not formal Bible studies, just women coming together to pray for each other, to share burdens, to celebrate victories. Word spread, and soon we had women of all ages, all backgrounds, united by the simple truth that we needed each other. My teaching changed too. I still pushed my students to excel, but I also made sure they knew their worth wasn't tied to their performance. I started each day by telling them they were loved, valued, created for purpose. I watched their shoulders straighten, their smiles brighten. When Jamal came to school with bruises again, I didn't just file a report. I drove to his house, sat with his mother, and connected her with resources. I learned that she was struggling with addiction, had been in an abusive relationship, was drowning just like I had been. Together, we found her help. Together, we created a safety plan for Jamal. 6 months later, his mother graduated from a treatment program. A year later, Jamal's smile was back, bright and genuine. That's when I knew, this is what healing looks like. Not just individual restoration, but community transformation. People ask me sometimes, did you really die and meet Jesus? I smile and nod. Yes, and he changed everything. They want to know if I'm different now. Absolutely. I still work hard, but I don't work out of fear anymore. I work out of love. I still have challenges, but I don't face them alone anymore. I ask for help when I need it. I accept love when it's offered. I rest when I'm tired. Most importantly, I'm teaching Zoe what I learned on the other side, that she is fearfully and wonderfully made, that her identity isn't in her achievements, but in God's love for her, that she never has to carry the world on her shoulders because she belongs to the one who holds the world in his hands. Last month, Zoe asked me to help her start a mentorship program for younger girls at school. She wants to teach them about self-worth, about supporting each other instead of competing, about the power they carry as young Black women created in God's image. Watching her lead those girls, seeing her confidence and compassion, I know that the cycle has been broken. The lies stop with our generation. The healing starts with us. Maybe you're reading this and you recognize yourself in my story. Maybe you're carrying too much, trying to be too strong, feeling too alone. I'm here to tell you that Jesus sees you. He sees your silent tears, your hidden struggles, your desperate prayers whispered in the dark. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to carry everything alone. You are loved exactly as you are in this moment, with all your flaws and fears and failures. I died and met him, and he showed me something I'll never forget. He showed me that Black women carry a special light, a unique strength, a divine purpose that the enemy has tried to dim, but can never extinguish. We are his daughters, his warriors, his beloved ones. Our story isn't over. The best chapters are yet to be written, and we're going to write them together.